Hello everyone, welcome to today's news charter. Let us begin with the prelims question of the day. Today we have a very nice question from which you can learn a lot. Look at this question. Price of rice has been increasing in India in the recent times. So this kind of questions you get in economy. Price of rice has been increasing and which among the below is not a reason. So whenever we get such questions, we need to study the statements very clearly. First statement, the minimum support price for rice has increased. So even if you do not know whether they have increased it or decreased it, just check whether this statement can be correct or not. For example, if minimum price of rice has been increased, then the farmers are going to get more money and the government is going to take the rice at higher cost. So they will be selling in the market also at higher cost, right? So this might result in price rise. So this will be a reason. Second one, the cost of transport, storage, etc. are escalating, which is actually true. The cost of transport, storage, everything has been increasing. So when all these things increase, the price of the product will also increase. So that is also a reason. Third one, export of non-basmati rice has declined. So what happens if export of non-basmati rice has actually declined? That means more rice is available in the market for the people. But in reality, if that is true, then price of rice will not increase. So this clearly shows that the statement is correct. If export of non-basmati rice, that is a normal rice, has declined, then more rice will be available in the market. So the price of the rice will actually reduce. Whereas in reality, the price of the rice has actually increased. So this statement is not correct. So that is the answer. The last statement, drop in rice production in some southern states, which is actually true. So out of all these statements, the third statement is the correct answer. Let's move to the first topic, MBC reservation by states. So at present, in some states, out of the OBC, certain caste groups are separated and they are called as the most backward classes, and they are giving reservation specifically for most backward classes. So such reservation has been going on in Tamil Nadu, which in that particular state, the reservation level has actually crossed 50%. So this practice, whether it is right or not, which has been questioned by the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has told certain things about this, which you need to know from examination point of view. Article 341 and 342 deals with scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. 341 is about scheduled caste, 342 is about scheduled tribe. How to include them in the list? It is the president who draws up the list. And to make any changes, the president cannot do it on his own. They have to introduce a legislation by the government in the parliament, and then they will make the changes. So inclusion or exclusion of any caste, race, or tribe is done by the parliament through legislation. So this is the general procedure. So what the Supreme Court has told is preferential allotment of reservation benefit to the most backward group or the untouchables among the untouchable. That is the most backward people who are involved in scavenging, people who have been severely discriminated even today. So these people come under untouchables among the untouchables. So that will not tinker the power of the parliament is what Supreme Court has told. So this clearly shows that if a state government want to make a separate category called as the most backward class, or they want to introduce some category within scheduled caste, then it does not overcome the power of the parliament. The state government is in its power to do so. So this shows that the Supreme Court is moving towards subcategorization of caste for reservation. Is scheduled caste a homogeneous group? So this particular question was answered by Supreme Court again in the recent ongoing hearing. So a seven-bench judge has been hearing this particular case about subcategorization of scheduled caste. Subcategorization means, for example, if 20 percentage, if let's say, for example, 15 percentage reservation is given to scheduled caste. Within scheduled caste, identify those castes which are extremely discriminated and provide certain reservation for them. So this is what subcategorization means. So the case is sub judice, it is going on in the Supreme Court, but on a daily basis, whenever the case hearing is happening, the Supreme Court has been giving some valid, very good observations which you need to know from your examination point of view. So what the Supreme Court has told is, some may have advanced in the society, while others continue to be particularly underprivileged within scheduled caste, within OBCs. Some caste group has advanced, some caste group has not advanced at all. Their representation is also very less. The diverse groups clubbed together in presidential list of Article 341 as scheduled caste. So at present, we have classification of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in 341 and 342, but there is no classification of those castes which are still discriminated, whose socio-economic characteristics are still down. So we do not have a classification until now. A very important case in this respect is E.V. Chinnaya case 2004. In E.V. Chinnaya case, the Supreme Court told that scheduled castes are homogeneous group. Homogeneous means they are a single group. But in the recent times, Supreme Court is telling completely opposite. They are telling that homogeneous characteristics may not be applicable to the scheduled caste because certain castes have developed very well, certain castes have not developed well. So we need to do some classification. We need to focus on certain groups more, is what the Supreme Court is telling. CRISPR-Cas technology was in news today. We need to know about the basics of CRISPR-Cas technology under biotechnology of GS3. This topic is very important for both prelims and mains. CRISPR-Cas is a technology which is often described as genetic scissors. So, for overcoming the genetic problems of human beings or plants, animals, anything, we can use CRISPR-Cas technology. Genes have small codes within them, and all the informations about our biological characteristics, our physical characteristic has been encoded in the genes. So if there is a genetic disorder, all you have to do is modify the gene, find out which particular gene is the cause of the problem and remove those nucleotides, and then your problems will be resolved. So this is what CRISPR-Cas technology does. Selectively modify the DNA of living organism using a special protein called Cas9. So these kind of words are very important. CRISPR and Cas is there. So what is CRISPR? What is Cas? Cas9 is actually a protein. CRISPR is called as molecular scissors because it cuts the DNA, and Cas9 is a special protein. So precisely cutting the DNA and letting the natural DNA repair mechanism, wherever the problem is identified, this CRISPR-Cas technology will identify that particular part of DNA, cut it, and patch it up so that the problem will be overcome. So what exactly Cas9 does? Cas9 is the molecular scissor and it is used to cut the DNA at a location specified by a guide RNA. Two things are used, guide RNA and Cas9. Guide RNA will take the Cas9 to that particular place of the DNA where problem is there. And with that, Cas9 will cut it and then the problem can be overcome. Where it is applied, it is applicable in overcoming genetic disorders, developing drought-resistant plants, modify food crops. For all these things, it can be used. Declining fertility rate. In the recent times, population is a very important topic under GS1 that should be noted. So that is the reason whenever we get any news related to population, we need to study about it in a proper way. Declining fertility rate. India's fertility rate was very high earlier. What exactly is fertility rate? Number of children born to a woman in her lifetime. That is called fertility rate. If the number of children born to a woman is more than two, that means the population is exploding. The population is increasing because two people are there, a man and woman, and if they are creating more than two childs, that means the population is going to increase. So the total fertility rate should be less than two. In 2009-11, it was 2.5. At present, it is 2. And it is predicted that by 2031, it will be 1.73. So this point is very, very important because it is going less than 2. That means the population of the countries has reached its most highest level, and now it is going to reduce. So when the total fertility rate will be reducing, that means our demographic dividend is going to get affected. We are going to become a old country. Old country means our average age, the mean age of the population will increase. More old people will be there at around this time from 2030. More old people will be there, and young population will be lesser in number. So India is going to see a demographic transition. Decreasing child population and increasing working age population will be there. In this point of view, what are all the measures the government should do so that we will be able to focus on our economic development even now? Very simple. At present, the number of youth population in the country is very high. So we need to skill them properly. We need to train them properly. We need to give good social services such as health, education, etc., so that they are healthy, so that they have enough skill to get more money out of the economy. So create more jobs, focus more so that the informal sector will be mingled with the formal sector. Female labor force in India is very less. More females should come and get involved in employment. Only 25% of female labor force has been working until now. So we need them to get involved here. Address gender disparities, improve access to education, healthcare, family planning practices. Everything should be given focus so that the youth population will get empowered. That is the basic idea. Mains question of the day: analyze India's demographic dividend potentials. Whatever we have discussed at present, that is there. Suggest measures to tap the potential before the shift in demography. That also has been discussed. All you need to do is frame an answer and post it in the comment or send to us so that we can evaluate it. Mains pointers: India's population. So in mains pointers, generally we include certain points which you can use in your mains examination. In mains examination, in introduction or the conclusion, it is always very good when you are able to add some data or quote some information that was given by the government or by any international organization, etc. So according to the latest projections by United Nations have told this: India's population is going to reach 1.46 billion by 2030. By then, 17% of the world's entire population will be Indian population. So this clearly shows that India's population is going to increase and India's population is going to get old. So we need to focus more on economic empowerment of the current youth population so that we will be in a position to tap our economic resources, demographic resources, and become a developed country by 2047, which is the dream of the government. So that will be all for today. Let us wind it up and we'll meet tomorrow. All the best.